Welcome to my second battle report. This is a 2200 point game between Skaven and Tomb Kings. You can find my complete battle list with the PDF in the link below. I just want to quickly apologize for my slave units. I don't have all the models because I'm currently rebasing them. So the markers represent 10 guys for each coin, and then the dice will be the number of pips. Lastly, these pictures were all taken after the first movement phase, but I believe that nothing's really lost after the original placement. For my layout, I have the two cannons on the left side, as they're sitting on the hill. I've got 30 plague monks with plague banner. I've got the 7 plague censer bearers, a unit of 50 slaves with shields, 35 storm vermin with the storm banner, along with pretty much all my characters in that unit. I decided to try out the globadiers, so I took 5 of those with the champion and the death globe. Then I've got another 50 slaves with musician and shields on this side. And then I've got 2 units of 7 gutter runners with poisons and slings. You can see my opponent has a catapult on the top right, and then 10 archers. And from bottom to top, he had the Casket of Souls, a Necro Titan, 6 chariots with a king, about 20 bowmen with the level 2 Hierophant. He also had the other big beastie that's flying, along with the Screaming Skull catapult, and then 10 more archers at the very top. So my main focus at this was to try to take out a couple of the big monsters using initiative tests, and then basically shoot the cannons at his chariots, trying to soften them up, so that I may be able to just out-combat res them if I take out enough bodies. I'm also going to be using my gutter runners to try to take out the catapults and the Casket of Souls. So the two main strengths of this army is I've got the 2 cannons, and then I have 2 Grey Seers to dish out as much magic as possible. My general got Warp Lightning, Bless with Filth, and Wither, and I changed for the Skitterleap with the signature spell. My second Grey Seer had Crack's Call, Plague, and Cloud of Corruption, and I also took Skitterleap. I opted for Skitterleap instead of the 13th spell because he only really has one unit that I really care about, that is infantry. But I also have the Brass Orb on a Warlock Engineer. I've got all those great spells on the second Seer, so I'm hoping I can Skitterleap him in to get some great initiative tests. I won the roll to go first, so I opt to move my units a little closer, but I still want to be out of charge range. Tomb Kings are terrible if they can't get the charge off, because their mobility is reduced, because they don't get to march. My gutter runners on the right side were able to take out his catapult, and my first cannon misfired, shooting the other cannon which was in the building, and causing 3 wounds, so not destroying it, but making me worried, to say the least. The other cannon shot, but then misfired the strength. So, pretty ineffective shooting phase. Also, my magic got completely stopped, and so my magic phase was ineffective as well. On his turn, he opts not to charge at me with any of his units, but moves them close enough that I've got charge range if I want to take it. For his magic phase, he uses all 6 dice on Light of Day, gets it off with Irresistible Force, targeting my Plague Censer bearers, but with the rank bonus I get from the Plague Monks, and being near the General and BSB, I'm able to negate the effect and not take any wounds. Now, shooting is a totally different case. His catapult's able to shoot and take out a bunch of my Storm Vermin, and also my 2 units gutter runners are dead this turn due to the bowmen. I take his bait and I charge my plague monks directly into his surfers. I figure with the plague banner with rerolls to hit and some wounds I've got a good chance there. I also take my plague censer bearers and charge the chariots, thinking that I can sneak a few wounds through and then maybe come back with the slaves afterwards and mop up the rest of the unit. It was also at this point that I realized that the plague banner lasts for the entire phase, so if I'm able to actually defeat the snakes and overrun into the unit of chariots, they will still get the reroll to hit and a wound in that next combat. So this is a new revelation for me, but makes that banner seem even more powerful than it is. My magic phase, I'm only able to get 2 spells off. I Skitterleap my engineer with the Brass Orb right next to the left catapult that's still remaining, and then my second Grey Seer uses his Power Stone, casts Crack's Call with 3 dice, gets it irresistibly, and gets sucked into the void. And the Crack's Call didn't even go far enough to take out his Necro Titan. My shooting phase, all I have left is my 2 cannons, and one cannon's able to take out the Necro Titan with a little bit of lucky rolling, and the other one missed it and shot beforehand. The engineer I skitter leaped last turn ended up missing with his orb, so this turn I charged him into the catapult, and actually don't lose combat, so I'm able to stick around through his next turn as well, so he can't shoot. So I was really excited about this combat. I took my Plague Monks, used Plague Banner right off the top. I had 45 attacks at the time, as I only had 9 guys base to base. From the 45 attacks, 33 ended up hitting. Of the 33, I had 12 wounds, and after armor saves, I did 2 wounds. He then retaliated, killing 8 of my guys and winning combat. So that is not at all as I expected to go. I was hoping to actually crush this unit and get the overrun. But, it doesn't always turn out that way. My Plague Monks were able to stick, being steadfast, and my Plague Censer Bears did quite a few wounds to the chariots, but not enough to crumble them, not enough to finish them off. He charges in the flank of my Plague Monks using his flyer. He then uses his bowman to take out my Globadiers. And this is what is left to combat after his turn is over. I had 1 Plague Censer Bear survive against the chariots, and he fled. The chariots then charged into my Plague Monks, and with the combined strength of all 3 units, were able to wipe out all my Plague Monks. At this point, all I have left are 2 cannons, 1 with a scorpion directly in front of it, 2 units of slaves, and my storm vermin. I charged my left unit of slaves into the chariots, hoping to pin them into place, and then I moved both my Grey Seer and my BSB to the right unit of slaves and moved them up 5 inches. I reformed the storm vermin and faced them to the left. My only hope at this point is that my Grey Seer can do a little bit of damage with Warp Lightning, and that my slaves can hold out against his chariots, so that my right unit of slaves may be able to get back and take out his Hierophant and start to cause the army to crumble. I shot both my cannons into his Snake Riders to bounce into his chariots to see if I could do some wounds there. I'm actually able to wipe out both of his Snake Riders and half his chariots through shooting. And here's just a quick overview of the battle. He's got his Scorpion up by my catapult, and not a whole lot left on the board for either one of us. So I'm able to get Wither off on his unit of chariots and take out all the chariots, including the mount for the king. But I'm unable to break them from combat as he kills a whole bunch of my slaves at the same time. I'm missing a picture here, but here's the aftermath. He charged in with his unit of bowmen with the Hierophant to try to help his king out against the slaves. He also repositioned his flying guy over so he can get a countercharge in on his next turn. So what ends up happening is I'm able to kill quite a few bowmen, but the combat ends up being a wash still with his charge bonus and banner. So his king's still around, but he's not very easy to see in this picture, and he reforms his unit from being a horde to having a rank bonus instead. On my turn, I countercharge his unit of bowmen with my slaves with the characters, and I get Wither off on the bowmen as well. During my shooting phase, I was able to get 4 wounds on his flying monster, bringing him down to 1 left, using the 1 remaining cannon from the building. On his turn, he charges me with both the flying monster and with his 10 bowmen. I'm able actually to do enough combat res with his monster failing to wound and only getting 1 on his Thunder Stomp and failing to win with that, to crumble the monster, kill most of the archers in both units, and to bring him down to 1 or 2 rounds of combat. At the end of that turn, I'm able to kill his Hierophant, which then kills off the archer unit because of the number of wounds remaining, and he loses the catapult due to the crumbling roll. So at this point, he only has a Scorpion left, a unit of 10 bowmen, and the casket is actually still there as well. So really what this game came down to was a few lucky rolls on my part for leadership with the slaves, but also in a lot of the combats I found that the slaves with shields were exceedingly useful because I was able to win a couple combats by making a couple important 6+ armors and 6+ parries against his archers, and against his chariots, which were only strength 3 as well. Losing my other Grey Seer, the one with all the offensive spells in the second turn, kind of hurt, but I was able to march forward with those slaves, with the right combination of buffs and debuffs on his guys, still pull out the win. Not entirely proud of this one, but it came down to the end, and it was a solid victory just based on battle points, but when it comes down to it, there's a lot of turning points when this game either wasn't going in my favor or didn't look like it was going to end up that way. Thanks for watching.